Hello everyone. Today we are going to see about a JavaScript interview question called balanced brackets. In this problem, we will be given an input string which contains opening and closing brackets, and we need to figure out whether the given brackets are balanced or not, which means every opening bracket should have its consecutive closing bracket at right position, and the string which we have here as an example is completely balanced. How I'm saying is the innermost opening bracket have its closing bracket coming immediately next to it. Likewise, this is completely satisfied, so we can remove this. Once we remove it, the next opening bracket which comes here has a closing bracket coming next to it, and this closing bracket comes next to a balanced pair of another set of brackets. So this is also a balanced bracket. So similarly, we have this opening bracket which has a closing bracket coming next to pairs of balanced brackets. So which means this also a balanced bracket. Combining all this forms a balanced bracket set. What if we have a closing bracket like this? So this extra closing bracket which comes next to a balanced pair doesn't have its pair of opening bracket here. So which means this forms a unbalanced brackets. So let's see how to figure this out. So we are going to solve this problem by using a data structure called stacks. So what is the stacks? So in terms of JavaScript, we can simply tell it as an array which can perform only push and pop operations alone, which means it can take items to an array only via push, and we can remove an item from an array only via pop. What is push and what is pop? So push means if we want to add an item to array, we can only add item at the end of the array. So pop means removing the last added item. How are we going to use stack to solve this balanced bracket problem? Let's see that. So here we have this input, this. We need to loop every bracket in the given string, and we need to check whether it is an opening bracket or the closed bracket. If it is opening bracket, we will be pushing it to the stack. So here this is the opening bracket, so we pushed it to the stack. So let's see this opening bracket, the bracket which comes next to it, this is also an opening bracket, and the bracket which comes next to it, this also opening bracket. So we pushed all the opening brackets which we've looped, and next we have a closing bracket. We need to check the last pushed item to the stack is opening bracket of its pair. So we will be having hash map, so that will map the closing bracket to its corresponding opening bracket. So this is the hash map which we are going to consider, and we know this is the closing bracket which we encountered at last. So once we found the closing bracket, we have to pop the last pushed bracket into the stack, which means this. So pop means we will be removing it from the array and we will be storing it in a temporary variable, and this is the last closing bracket which we encountered, and now we will be checking the hash map what is its corresponding opening bracket, and the corresponding opening bracket is this, and now we will be checking whether the corresponding opening bracket is same as the opening bracket which we popped from the stack, and if they are equal, we will be continuing the loop, and if it is not equal, which means it is not balanced, and which means it is a wrong pair of bracket which we've encountered, which means this is an unbalanced bracket. What if it is a balanced bracket? So if it is a balanced bracket, at last we will be popping all the elements from the array, and at last the stack will be empty, and once the loop is complete, we have to check whether the stack length is 0 or not, which is empty stack. If the stack is empty, which means all the brackets are completely balanced. So let's see the solution. So first we create a function for balanced brackets. Now we need to create the hash map of the pairs of brackets. So once we create hash map for bracket pairs, now we need to create a simple array which contains only the opening bracket. So these are all the possible opening brackets, and now we need to loop the given string to check every pairs of bracket. So let's start the loop. So now we need to check whether the current bracket is an opening bracket or a closing bracket, and we have actually created a hash map which has key of only closing brackets, and if we check that, we can get to know whether it's a closing bracket or not. Likewise, we need to check whether there is an opening bracket or not by using the opening bracket array we have created. And if it is a closing bracket, then we need to pop the last added item from the stack. So once we pop it, we need to compare whether the last added item from the stack is the pair of the current closing bracket or not. If it is a pair, then we can continue the loop, and if it is not a valid pair, which means it is unbalanced, we need to return false. And in case of opening bracket, we need to simply push to the stack. So now we need to check as a closing bracket or not. If it contains a bracket, it is a valid boolean value, and if it doesn't have, it will result in undefined, which is a falsie. So if it is a valid, we need to do all these operations inside this, so which means pop item from the stack. So we need to create the stack first, simply an empty array to start with. We need to pop, and this will contain the last added item to the stack, and that will be removed from the stack. Check popped item is a valid pair. So if it is invalid, which means not equal to the last added item, then we need to return false. And what is the next condition? So if it is an opening bracket, how to check whether it's opening bracket or not? Opening brackets dot includes, which means it is a opening bracket. We need to push to the stack. And once this loop completes, which means it didn't found any invalid bracket pair yet, and now we need to check whether the length of the stack is empty or it contains some value. If it has still some brackets present in it, which means we still have some opening brackets which doesn't have its corresponding closing bracket, so which is invalid. So this can be checked by this. So yeah, let's test our solution. So I have an extension installed in VS Code that helps to run the JavaScript code in the VS Code itself. So let's check the solution. So now we are seeing it is true, which means the bracket pairs whatever which we've given is completely balanced. Let's try with the unbalanced bracket pair, and let's add one closing bracket, save it, run it again. It is a false. Cool, our solution is working. And the time complexity, you might have guessed it, so we are using only one loop. We don't have a nested loop, so the time complexity is n, and as we are using stack, we have a space complexity of n, so linear space complexity, because the stack can get at most every element in the given string if every element in the given string is a opening bracket. Thank you. Hope you might have liked the video, and if you really find it interesting and useful, please do share it with your friends, and please do click the like, and if you want to get more contents like this, please do subscribe. Thank you.